Hi, I'm Rahel Philipose, and you are listening to Three Things, the Indian Express News Show. In this episode, we talk about what Telangana farmers are demanding after losing crops because of unseasonal rains. We also talk about a relief for the foreign medical graduates. But first, we talk about the Karnataka exit polls. On Wednesday, Karnataka went to polls. And since that evening, multiple exit polls have been predicting the possible outcome of the elections. And with the results coming out tomorrow, we decided to take a look at what the exit polls are saying and what kinds of trends we have seen in the past elections in Karnataka. And for this, my colleague Utsa Sarmin speaks to the Indian Express's Kiran Parashar.
So Kiran, could you talk about what the majority of the exit polls are saying about this year's elections?
So, Utsa, majority of the exit polls that are conducted by various organizations suggest that either Karnataka will have a hung assembly or lean towards Congress, whereas they have given less numbers to the ruling BJP government in Karnataka. So, if you see ABC News Sea Voters exit poll, they have said that Congress might get 110 to 122, whereas BJP from 73 to 85 and JDS somewhere around 21 to 29. So this is what the numbers these are suggesting. And Karnataka has 224 assembly segments. Of that, one party requires 113 seats to form a government. So presently, some of the exit polls suggest that Congress will get more than 113, and some have restricted it to 108, below 110. Which means there will be a hung assembly.
Right, and can you tell us how accurate these polls have been in the past in Karnataka?
So, Utsa, the thing is, previously the exit polls, if you see the 2018 exit polls, all these organizations suggested that the BJP would secure somewhere around 95 to 105 or 110. Whereas very few people gave an edge to Congress, saying that they will score beyond 100. But if you see the last election results in Karnataka, what happened was BJP managed to get 104 seats and Congress managed to get 80 seats, whereas JDS managed to get 37 seats. So this was the case.
Right, so that means in the last elections, none of the parties got the majority. And Kiran, we have seen that the JDS, it played an important role in forming the government last time. They came together with Congress to form the government. But can you talk about what the exit polls are saying about the JDS this time?
So if you take India TV CNX poll opinion, they say that Congress may get 105 seats and BJP get 85 seats and JDS may get 32 seats. So if you go by these numbers, then Congress will have to depend on JDS to form a government. However, many of the other polls suggest that they may not need the support of JDS to form the government because of the clear majority that they get. But you don't know what happens at the end of the day. And also there are few independent candidates who are contesting. And if those candidates can play a role in forming the government with the Congress, then you might not need any help from the JDS. For example, let's say Congress is going to get 111 seats and other candidates might get like some 4 or 5 seats. So that would be enough for the Congress. But with Operation Lotus in play and all this resort politics in play, you don't know. You might need a very good margin to form the government or else it might collapse again.
And for the benefit of our listeners, Operation Lotus is a term given by the opposition parties who accuse the BJP of poaching their MLAs and forming government in the states where the BJP does not have a majority.
Yeah, so BJP in the past have allegedly lured the candidates of other parties to join BJP, and when they give a positive response, what they generally do is they take them out of the city to resorts or all these places, and after that these people will come and fight by-elections as a BJP candidate. So then if they're able to win, that will help BJP to form the government as well as the opposition will lose certain amount of seats. So if you see in last elections, after 2018 assembly elections, Congress and JDS formed the government. But by 2019, things changed after 15 MLAs changed their stance, and these people were taken to Maharashtra, where they stayed in a resort for some time. From after that, they submitted resignations to their MLA position, and they came back and they contested as BJP candidates. And out of those seats, BJP managed to win 12 seats and Congress managed to win 2. So 12 was enough for BJP to form a government. Then BJP formed a government and B.S. Yediyurappa became the chief minister.
And do you think if the state again throws up a fractured mandate this time, we will see a similar situation unfolding in Karnataka?
Yeah, we don't know exactly what the move will be, because see, why Karnataka assembly elections becomes very important is that this is happening 1 year before Lok Sabha elections. So this will definitely have an impact on Lok Sabha elections as well. So how the parties are going to deal with it is a different discussion altogether. But at this point of time, if Congress gets the majority, I don't think BJP government would not try for a Operation Lotus. But if they are in the borderlines, you may anticipate for a Operation Lotus as well.
Right, and could you give the listeners a sense of the ground right now? I mean, what are the people saying? How are they reacting to these exit polls?
If you see in Bangalore, many of the people have expressed their surprise because Prime Minister Narendra Modi held more than 40 kilometers of road shows, and he held rallies. Amit Shah was here for many days. Nadda was here for many days. And the entire high command was in Karnataka for a long time. And Bangalore has 28 assembly segments, and out of which BJP presently has 15. So BJP was very much focusing to get more number of seats in Bangalore. But according to the exit poll suggestions, it is not happening for them. Some people are suggesting somewhere between 10 to 14 seats. So this will be a really game changer for Congress as well, if at all, if you go by these exit polls. It also shows that the Modi magic did not work in Bangalore or in Karnataka, because you will also have to make it a point that Karnataka for the first time has gone for an election without chief minister's face. But the BJP has gone for an election without chief minister's face, and also the election campaigns were majorly led by the Prime Minister, Union Minister, and BJP National President, and all these people. So there were no celebrity campaigners for BJP in Karnataka other than B.S. Yediyurappa. But again, this is all about exit polls. Even last time in 2018, some of the exit polls, even before the polling, suggested that BJP might get only 70 to 80 seats. But things changed in the last 10 days before the elections, when huge amount of campaigns from the national leaders and the state leaders went on, and the numbers increased to 104. So likewise, the campaign in Karnataka 10 days before the elections, this time also was carried out in a massive way, both by BJP and Congress. But BJP's campaign stood out from a Congress campaign because the Prime Minister himself was campaigning, was on the ground, reaching out to the public. And this is the first time in the history of Karnataka elections that the India's Prime Minister has been campaigning for the assembly elections for so long and holding so much of rallies, road shows and everything. And that can also influence in the voting patterns.
And next we talk about the loss of crops in Telangana. This year, due to unseasonal rain and hailstorms since March, Telangana farmers have suffered a huge crop loss. The loss was so much that Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao conducted an aerial survey of the affected areas back in March. And after the survey, he informed that a total of 2.2 lakh acres of crops have been damaged.
the CM immediately announced a grant of 10,000 rupees per acre as assistance for farmers and sanctioned a sum of 228 crore rupees.
That was the Indian Express's Rahul V Pisharody. Now, Rahul says that the farmer rights organizations in the state have disputed these numbers.
For example, Raitu Swarajya Vedika says crop loss amounts to over 11 lakh acres in the last 2 months, and the affected farmers are eagerly awaiting enumeration of losses and compensation from the government. They say that enumeration of damages has not begun in most of the places across Telangana.
And that's why they are demanding greater compensation from the state. But at the same time, they are demanding long-term solutions to their problems.
Farmers are seeking a more concrete disaster relief policy and a better crop insurance scheme rather than this one-time announcement of compensation from the government. They say that every time there is a disaster, they cannot be sitting and waiting for an announcement from the state government or the center.
Now, crop insurance schemes basically provide financial protection to farmers if they face any crop loss because of natural disasters, pests, or diseases. And India has the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, which provides crop insurance to the farmers. But Rahul says that Telangana pulled out of the scheme back in June 2020.
So earlier, under the central scheme, the farmer had to pay only a part of the premium for his crop, and the rest was paid equally by the center and the state. In 2020, when the center reduced its share of premium to 25% and asked the state to pay the rest of 75%, Telangana pulled out. It has been maintaining that this Fasal Bima Yojana is just a meaningless and useless scheme that was meant to benefit only insurance companies rather than farmers. So, after Telangana pulled out of PM Fasal Bima Yojana, there were other states too, like Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Gujarat, and Tamil Nadu, who also pulled out of Fasal Bima Yojana. But they came up with their own state level insurance scheme. But Telangana till date has not thought of state level crop insurance scheme.
And that's why the Farmers' Rights Organization is now demanding a crop insurance scheme to protect the farmers.
Raitu Swarajya Vedika, on the other hand, does not endorse PM Fasal Bima Yojana as an ideal scheme, but it says not implementing any crop insurance scheme, whether it is a central scheme or a state scheme, is a complete abdication of responsibility. That is their stand. That is their demand. And the state has not responded to any such demand so far. The ruling BRS party, however, maintains that center should come up with a new policy that helps farmers and not insurance companies. So with assembly elections around the corner now, farmers and union leaders are hopeful that the CM would announce a crop insurance scheme at least this year.
Now, as we just heard from Rahul, the state government didn't say anything about the demands for a crop insurance scheme. But the BRS government in Telangana did take some immediate measures to address the situation, like buying all the damaged crops, which Rahul says made the farmers happy.
As of now, they are happy that the CM made an announcement with respect to procuring every grain of paddy and do that as soon as possible. Farmers are happy about that, and CM also mentioned that regardless of the moisture content, the paddy would be procured at the same price as they would have done it earlier. Damages won't be taken into consideration. They would just procure every grain of paddy. In fact, responding to the situation, CM urged farmers to advance the farming cycle, to ensure that the harvest of Rabi crop is over by end of March every year, because unseasonal rains are going to be a commonplace, and to avoid damages of this nature in the months of April and May, CM wants farmers to advance the farming cycle. And in this regard, he directed agriculture officers to do a scientific study and come up with possible changes to policy that can be adopted to complete harvest of Rabi crops before March. He believes that unseasonal rains are going to be a commonplace, and he wants officials to sensitize farmers in this regard.
And And in the end, we talk about Indian students who completed their medical degrees from foreign universities. Earlier this week, the NMC, or the National Medical Commission, announced that Indian students who studied medicine in foreign countries can now intern at non-teaching hospitals in India. Since last year, they were only allowed to intern at medical college hospitals, which are basically teaching hospitals. And here, the Indian Express's Anonna Dutt explains to us why the NMC relaxed their rules.
Last year was the first time that NMC tried to formalize this whole internship process for foreign medical graduates, saying that they shouldn't intern at these non-teaching hospitals and only go to the medical college hospitals, and that too at 7.5% of the total internship seats at these hospitals. Now, once these norms actually came into play, the number of seats that were available for internship for these graduates went down drastically.
So here what Anonna is referring to is an NMC directive from last year where they asked medical college hospitals to ensure that 7.5% of their internship seats were given to foreign graduates. However, while the move was well-intentioned, it ended up reducing the number of seats for the foreign graduates. And this is because this move put a cap on the maximum number of seats that a foreign graduate could apply to.
It led to a lot of backlog of cases. Coupled with this, there is also the issue of students who finished their education in, say, China or Ukraine, who had to come back due to COVID or the war, and the last year was completely online. So they didn't have the actual on-ground clinical experience, and they have been asked to do a 2-year internship instead of 1 year to fill in the gaps in knowledge. So all of this combined led to a huge shortage in seats for internships for this foreign medical graduates. And this was the reason for 1 year, the NMC has rolled back the requirement that students intern only in medical college hospitals.
And this has come as a relief for foreign medical graduates who have to complete an internship just like Indian medical graduates to be able to practice in India.
The foreign medical graduates are supposed to give a screening test called the Foreign Medical Graduate Examination, which happens twice a year. And this is mainly to see that their knowledge base is at par with whatever is the knowledge base of Indian students. So the test, FMG, that's supposed to be a screening test, which is you pass or you fail. But because there is now a shortage of the number of seats, the score that you get in that test has become like a merit list. So they are allotting the seats according to the numbers that you got in the screening test, which was never the case before. So that has happened this year because there were very limited seats, and there were a lot of thousands of students who weren't able to get a seat during the current round. So the immediate relief will come for these students. They will be able to get their 1-year internship and subsequently the license to practice in India.
So while this is a temporary solution to the foreign medical graduates, Anonna says there are also downsides to the decision.
The allotment of this internship by respective state medical councils has to happen before the 31st of May. Because if it doesn't, then the students will not be able to, complete their 1 year of internship by May 2024. Second thing is, from what I have learned speaking to a couple of medical councils, is that even in the normal course of things, the number of students who do pass this examination is actually higher than the number of seats available in the medical college for internship. So what that would mean is that there would remain a backlog once this decision is rolled back next year.
However, it is important to note that the government is planning to replace the FMG screening test and standardize the test for foreign and Indian medical graduates. And Anonna says that this move has been welcomed by the foreign graduates.
The national exit test, which would be like on the lines of NEET, where everybody has to write that, but everybody, all the doctors across India in their final year have to write this exit exam, and only when they pass the next step 1, they are given this temporary license. And then after their 1-year internship, they'll have to give another part of next step 2, which is more of a practical oriented exam. Now, why this is important is that this next examination will replace the existing FMG screening test as well. So the foreign medical graduates will also now require to give the same test as Indian medical graduates. And this would actually be a welcome step for foreign graduates who have alleged for years that their examination is tougher than what Indian medical graduates give, or there is a lot of opaqueness in the way the grading is done for them. So this is a welcome step, and it will ensure that everybody is at par. And this is the next examination is likely to start from 2024.
You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was hosted by me, Rahel Philipose, and written and produced by Utsa, Sarmin and Anwiti Singh, who spoke to Anonna Dutt for the last segment. It was edited and mixed by Abhishek Kumar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone who you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at @Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.